In Putnam County, a construction worker has died after an accident on the roof of a new home being built. The Putnam County Sheriff's Office said 41-year-old Joseph Lesko died when one of several trusses on the roof fell over, causing a domino effect of 20 or more trusses falling, pinning him underneath. EMS responders said that Lesko was killed instantly. Well, they're not moving out of the country, but some well-known media people are limiting their social media presence.
I have loved connecting with all of you on Twitter and then on X for all of these years. But it's time for me to leave the platform.
That's former CNN host Don Lemon, who thinks X is no longer a place for what he calls honest debate and free speech. Actress Jamie Lee Curtis also deactivating her X account, as well as UK newspaper The Guardian, which posted a long missive about its decision. In response, Elon Musk replied, "They are irrelevant, a dying publication." That's the latest news, traffic, and weather. Next, I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Top Gun was an awful movie. I've never seen it. I'm not going to see it.
You take that back.
I'm not going to take it back.
Take it back.
Have you seen the super text line, how divided we are? This
On
is
whether it's a good movie or not?
Yeah, this is the most divided America's been in years.
In years. Nothing else could stand against it.
Yeah, it's funny, man. Yeah, Top Gun was terrible.
What's wrong with you, man?
I just feel like I should get that out of the way. Tom Cruise.
You,
now.
the biggest movie buff in the world, hate Top Gun.
I'm not going to do it. I've actually never seen it. I've never seen it.
That's probably fine. It's all right.
No plans to. No plans to.
I like the first one. I think the second one's better.
Second one is better?
I think so.
Nah, they took away the Taiwan patch. They took it
You know
away.
what? You're right. What am I talking about?
Yeah, they took it away. Thanks, Joe Biden. All right, so Joe Biden and Trump met yesterday. Have you seen the memes?
Which ones?
All of them. Like, let me tell you about my best friend, and it's just them and like AI generated videos of them like riding together on a motorcycle down like a nice country road.
Frolicking through fields.
They're frolicking. I saw one that said, and then they're walking through, the Oval Office. It goes, and then I fixed the ice cream machine while the fries were cooking, and Biden goes, "This is why I voted for you."
Just them laughing.
I'm here for the
high-fiving.
memes. I haven't seen Biden so happy in so long. And when you compare that with what the meeting looked like with Obama, back in 2015, man, Joe is ready to retire. So we had Biden and Trump sitting down. During the meeting, we're learning that the leaders discussed wars in the Ukraine and the Middle East. I can only imagine Trump said they're all your fault. You did this. But the New York Post said the two leaders enjoyed seeing each other. According to Trump, they had a good time. They had a good time. He said, it's been a long slog. It's been a lot of work on both sides, and he did a very good job with respect to campaigning and everything else. We really had a good meeting. Trump is always nicer with people after he's beaten them, like beaten them into submission. They spoke about those two wars. Trump also told the New York Post, I asked for his views, and he gave them to me. Also, we talked very much about the Middle East. Likewise, I wanted to know his views on where we are and what he thinks, and he gave them to me. He was very gracious. I can only imagine that Trump is saying, what do you think? So that way he can go into Costanza mode and just do the exact opposite, because that will be the successful path, right? Anything Joe Biden says, listen, I would do this and I would do that, Trump just got to go, all right, perfect. I'm going to go the exact other way, and it'll work out for the better. But Trump said that the process for picking his officials in the second term is going very smoothly, and the Republican transition team and the Biden White House have a very, very good relationship. Trump said during the meeting, politics is tough. In many cases, not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate it very much. A transition that's so smooth, it'll be as smooth as it can get. So we've seen this. John Roberts on Fox News, it was actually he had quite the chuckle about Trump saying that that Joe Biden was gracious.
Which is what Michael Waltz has been talking to us about for years, incessantly saying that this White House has not been doing enough to address any of that. So
just want to
I'm
note
not sure
that,
how much of a briefing he needs.
Well, and he just said himself, Jake Sullivan, that Karine Jean-Pierre is going to give us more scoop on what was said at that meeting between President Biden and President-elect Donald Trump. Interesting, though, there's some exclusive reporting from the New York Post that spoke to President Trump as he was leaving to JBA following the White House meeting. He said it's going very smoothly. Both really enjoyed seeing each other. He said, we talked a lot about the Middle East. I wanted to know his views, Trump said about Biden. I wanted to know his views on where we are and what he thinks. And he gave them to me. He was very gracious, says Trump, about meeting with President Biden.
This was the guy who said he wanted to smack him in the patootie and take him out behind the gym at various points during the election campaign. So it seems that it would be nice if they were gracious to each other. It seems as though that likely was the case.
This is the guy that said he was going to smack him in the patootie and take him out behind the gym. I didn't know I needed to hear John Roberts say smack him in the patootie, but I know that now. I do. They said Karine Jean-Pierre would tell us more. And during the White House press briefing, Karine Jean-Pierre, she did her best. She did her best. They asked all sorts of questions. One of them, a reporter asked her if Trump acknowledged Biden as the winner of the 2020 election, and if that came up.
Did the issue of the fact that President Trump did not acknowledge President Biden as the winner of the 2020 election come up today?
I can only hope it did. Pre KJP's answer. I just hope that Trump said, "I won, Joe. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it." That's how I envision it going.
What we want to do is move forward. We do.
Really?
No, seriously. What
We're not
we want to
going
do is
back.
move forward.
Yeah.
We respect the will of the people. There was an election, as you know, last week, and the American people spoke.
Loudly.
And so the president is going to make sure that he puts the American people first. He's going to make sure that we move forward in this process, in this transition process, in a way that is respectful to the American people and to lead by example. And so that's our focus. That's what we want to do. I think the president has shown that in the past week.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell by his big old smile.
Of that leadership. And so that's what you're going to hear. That's what we're going to continue to do in the 68 days that we have left in this administration.
I understand that. I guess that just seems like a piece of unfinished business between them. Did it come up at all?
Look, that is something certainly that I would leave for the president-elect to speak to. What I can speak to is this president wanting to focus on the American people, wanting to focus on issues that matter, domestic policy issues, national security issues that are critical and important in how we move forward as a country. That's what the president wanted to focus on. Again, it was gracious, it was substantive, and I think that's what's important. And what we are showing the American people is how you do this. How do you have a peaceful transition of power, how it looks, and leading by example. And that is quintessential Joe Biden.
We're showing the American people how to lose the right way. Quintessential Joe Biden. We've learned a lot about losing over the last 3.5 years. Thanks to Joe Biden. It's been his greatest gift to the nation. We've really learned how to deal with defeat. Peter Ducey asked if there was plans for Trump and Biden to play golf. And this cracked me up because you remember on the debate, that was one of the big things, right? He thinks he can beat me in golf. Are you kidding?
The last time these two were together in the same room was at the debate. They talked a fair amount about playing golf. Do you know if a plan was made for them to play golf in President Biden's retirement?
Actually, that's not the last time they saw each other. They saw each other at September 11th. I'm going to move on.
I mean, the joke goes right over her head. She can't have any fun. You're not allowed to have fun if you're the White House press secretary, apparently. She's having a tough go. You can just hear it. You know, she's getting the CV in order. She's looking for work. It's got to be tough to be Karine Jean-Pierre right now. But, there were some serious questions, right? Ducey also wanted to know if any classified information was shared during the meeting.
Okay, Peter.
Thanks, Karine. Did President Biden show incoming President Trump anything classified?
No.
No. And for that, I say good, because then the Biden administration would leak it, and then they would blame Trump, right?
No. Why not?
Why would he? This was an opportunity for them to speak candidly, openly. I've said to you that it was gracious, it was incredibly substantive, and I'll just leave it there.
I'll just leave it there. She is defeated. Can you hear it? She is absolutely 100% defeated, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I like deflated KJP. She doesn't seem like she has a will to fight anymore. And she didn't like being asked if Biden apologized for calling Trump a threat to democracy.
In the meeting, we saw a unified front related to a transition in the Oval Office meeting. But a lot was said on the campaign trail, like Trump is a dangerous threat to our country and our democracy.
Yep.
Was there an apology today?
I'm sorry?
Was there an apology? For calling him a tyrant, a fascist, a racist, literally Hitler, a transphobe, a homophobe, a xenophobe. Did I miss any of the phobes or the ists? I think I got them all. If I missed one, fill in the blank, because that's what Trump was called on the campaign trail. She says, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And the look of disgust on this woman's face, like, yeah, I think an apology's in order, actually.
Today?
I'm sorry?
Was there an apology from
President
Biden for the words, some of the words used?
An apology from the President Biden.
To President-elect Trump for some of the words that was used on the campaign trail.
Look, and I've answered this a couple of times about...
No, you have not. You have not answered this a couple of times. The meeting just took place. So she's going to do the dance around, right? She's going to avoid the question. But even leftists, even dedicated leftists are like, yo, you called him Hitler. You said he was going to round us up with the military. And now it's like handshakes and smiles.
About a threat to democracy in the past week. The president is going to always feel obligated to be honest with the American people. What he says still stands.
Oh. And so he's welcoming Hitler in. What he said he meant, but turns out You can be friends with Hitler if you're a Democrat.
And it's not just him. You heard this from former staffers. You've heard it from the former chief of staff, John Kelly, and others. You've heard it directly from the president-elect, the former president, about enemy of the people. Very, very clear. Very clear. What we want to be also very clear about is the importance of listening to the will of the American people.
And clearly, Karine is making the case that the American people elected Hitler. so we gotta welcome him in, right? This woman, it's insane. These people are insane. They have no bounds to their hypocrisy. This win was massive. The American people voted for literally Hitler, and we have to follow the will of the American people. Karine Jean-Pierre. Thanks. Gutfeld had a great rant last night, and he was talking about that victory, when Hitler won. But he said it's more than a victory. This is transformational, what we're witnessing.
I'm looking at the speed of these nominations and the type of them, and there are no F's given. It's the difference between wanting something and deciding. In 2016, Trump wanted to be president. He wanted to lead. He wanted to get stuff done. Second time around, he's decided. There's no longer any decision making. You can feel it. It's deliberate. It's definitive. We felt this way before. You wanted to move. You wanted to quit a job. You wanted to end a relationship. And then there's that moment that you decide, and boom, 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 boom. Everyone around you realizes, wow, this is more than a victory. In fact, it's transformational. It's not just that the Democrats were vanquished, but an entire age has closed. The death of identity politics. It's there, of race-based reward and punishment, the tyranny of the aggrieved. And a new age has started, and I echo Jesse again. I've never been more hopeful or optimistic in my life. This wasn't just an election. It was a turning point, and I want Democrats to thrive during this period. But the only way for the Democrats to be happy, whether they like it or not, is they have to think less about identity and more about the outside world. Start with your family and your friends and your spirituality. Don't listen to the view and what they say you should cut off these people that disagree with you. That is a mistake. You see so many upset people right now, and it's because they became obsessed about their identity, which feeds into your ego. Yep. And then when your ego takes a hit, you're miserable. So if you live outside yourself and you remove identity politics, you remove the fuel for your ego. Identity politics was a complicated word for me. This is why when you saw people entrenched in it, they were so miserable. They were so blind. They couldn't talk to other people. If you replace that inner turmoil with curiosity and service for the outside world, you will be so much happier. It's really ironic that Make America Great Again is about the future.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's talking about the past. But you found out that the Dems were the past in every respect. They felt it necessary to judge present day individuals by people who existed 100, 200 years ago. We're innocent.
Yeah. Gutfeld, I mean, just on point. This victory is different. It's different this time. And whether the Democrats like it or not, this presidency is going to benefit them as well. It's 9:22 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hannon. I want to talk to you about my buddy Shane Ring over at Cover Nash. Open enrollment is here for health insurance, and not only does Shane Ring have over 20 years of experience in health insurance, but he's shopping the entire market for you to find the best plan. He has over 75 different companies to shop from and every type of plan available in the market. He can help you no matter what your income or health situation is. So don't let yourself or someone you know get taken advantage of by call center agents in limited, overpriced health coverage. Shane can easily, and I mean easily, save you 30 to 60% on your monthly premiums, and many of these plans will even pay you when you use them. You heard me right. Many of these plans will pay you when you use them. Go ahead and give Shane Ring a call today and let him know Chris Hand sent you. He'll show you how much you could be saving on quality coverage today. Call Shane at 615-465-0023. That's 615-465-0023. Online at covernash.com. You can head there to book an appointment with Shane and get a quality plan managed by you, not the government. covernash.com.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
What are the chances that the Senate will recess long enough for President Trump's nominations to get appointed quickly? Well, we get a hint from the new Senate leader. We'll bring that to you. Also, a popular conservative hospitalized this morning. His family is asking for prayers. Those stories coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan Jones. 927. My name is Chris Hand. You can find me on Twitter, True Social, and Instagram at Chris Hand on air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. I have an updated list here of all the celebrities that have moved out of the country since Donald Trump won the election. And that is my list of all the celebrities that have moved out of the country since Donald Trump's election. We got the left melting down and establishment Republicans melting down because of some picks that have been made for the cabinet.
Wow.
I know. Cry more.
Cope.
So we got Rubio as Secretary of State. Meh. I don't know, guys. Like, listen, we also had John Bolton in the last cabinet, and I've said this a couple times. John wanted to bomb North Korea, and instead Trump forced him to shake Kim Jong-un's hand, right? So I'm not too worried about Rubio. He is a neocon. I don't trust him, but I do trust Trump, okay? So that being said, we had a couple more appointments. Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, my gosh, that's a big one. Director of National Intelligence, yes. Hey, federal government, the woman that you put on a terror watch list is now your boss. Congratulations. Donald Trump saying, for over 2 decades, Tulsi has fought for our country and freedoms for all Americans. As a former candidate for the Democrat presidential nomination, she has broad support in both parties. She is now a proud Republican. I know Tulsi will bring the fearless spirit that has defined her illustrious career to our intelligence community, championing our constitutional rights and securing peace through strength. Tulsi will make us proud. And yeah, I think she's a good pick for that. I think she'll be fair. And that's what we want. We want truth, justice, and fairness. I don't think we're going to see it weaponized against one party or the other. That's what we need. That's what we need. On the other hand, the other nomination has really ruffled some feathers. Donald Trump naming Matt Gaetz as his attorney general. Whew. I wonder how this audience feels about it. There are quite a few people that don't like Matt Gaetz. My wife last night, she said to me, she goes, that's Matt Gaetz? Because I'm doing research. And she looks at the computer. She goes, wait, that's Matt Gaetz? And I said, yeah, that's Matt Gaetz. She goes, wow, he looks a lot like Maria Shriver.
Oh, my goodness, he does.
I said, geez, this is something I can't unsee now. Thank you for that.
It's that forehead thing.
It's the forehead. Yeah. It's like a 5 head. I love him, though.
Whoa.
I'm here for Matt Gaetz, Matt Shriver, Maria Gaetz, however you want to put it. But a lot of people are very upset. And Matt Gaetz has immediately resigned from Congress. Well, we'll break all of that down, plus take your calls on the way. 615-737-9986. Joan Jones standing by with the news on Super Talk.
Good morning, 9:30 now, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Stick around. The full forecast coming up in a couple of minutes. Senate Majority Whip John Thune of South Dakota takes over as Senate Majority Leader in January. After yesterday's leadership vote, he has said that all options are on the table when he was asked about pushing President-elect Trump's appointments through during an extended recess. A former Tennessee deputy has been charged after allegedly shooting and killing 7 dogs while on duty. TBI says McNairy County Sheriff's Deputy Connor Bracken responded to a home in Bethel Springs to check on the condition of dogs for an animal welfare call when he used a service weapon to kill the dogs. An investigation is underway. A Connecticut teacher was placed on leave for posting a Snapchat video of herself making violent threats against voters who chose President-elect Donald Trump. Andy Dunleavy is her name. She is a special education teacher.
Just because you won doesn't mean we don't remember who the you voted for. You're not in the clear. And just please don't test your gangster on me, because you will end on a stretcher, gone forever.
Well, she has since apologized. She said she made the video in a moment of high emotion. Dennis Prager, founder of conservative online platform Prager University, is resting in an L.A. hospital this morning. He reportedly suffered a serious back injury following an accidental fall. PragerU says doctors are assessing his treatment options. His family is asking for prayers. And we're just learning that national car parts retailer Advance Auto Parts is closing more than 700 locations as it works through a cash crunch. In an earnings call, Advance Auto Parts said its customers have been pulling back on discretionary spending because of high inflation. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
right, we've got another Trump appointment, and this is one that is probably going to surprise a lot of people because he was not on any of the lists that were floating around out there. And there had been some discussion that President-elect Trump was having trouble making this final decision, or maybe this is the person he had in mind all along. But he has now nominated Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz as Attorney General of the United States. He just wrote this on Truth Social. Quote, Matt is a deeply gifted and tenacious attorney, trained at William & Mary College of Law, distinguished himself in Congress through his focus on achieving desperately needed reform at the Department of Justice. Few issues in America are more important than ending the partisan weaponization of our justice system. Matt will end weaponized government, protect our borders, dismantle criminal organizations, and restore Americans' badly shattered faith and confidence in the Justice Department.
That's Fox News announcing the pick of Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Shock in D.C. Panic from the left. Panic from the establishment. I love to see it. I do. I like it. I like it a lot. Matt Gaetz wasting no time, too. Immediately resigning from Congress. He's like, yep, I'm done. I'm done. And the motives behind resigning is just so smooth because they'll be able to get somebody in there, it looks like, by January 3rd when the new Congress convenes. So House Speaker Mike Johnson announced Wednesday that Rep. Matt Gaetz has issued his resignation effective immediately after he got that nomination. According to The Hill, Johnson had a statement that said, I think out of deference to us, he issued his resignation letter effective immediately. And that kind of caught us by surprise a little bit. But I asked him what the reasoning was. He said, well, you can't have too many absences. So under Florida state law, there's about an 8-week period to select and fill a vacant seat. And so by doing so today, that allows me, I've already placed a call to Governor DeSantis in Florida and said, let's start the clock. Let's start the clock. Let's go. Matt Gaetz, Attorney General. Now, there were many House GOP members, GOP, mind you, that weren't exactly happy about this. See, Matt Gaetz, I mean, he's polarizing as all get out. Let's not beat around the bush. You either love Matt Gaetz or you hate Matt Gaetz. There's not a lot of in between. I love the guy. I really do. I've seen him on many interviews. I've seen him speak live many times, and he's always the same guy. And I really respect that. I think he's authentic, and I'm a big fan. But there were members of the House GOP that were visibly shocked by this announcement. Some of them, according to MSNBC, were audibly gasping.
I'm told, along with my colleague Scott Wong, that House Republican lawmakers had every range of reactions, from gasping to audibly saying, oh my God. Some of them thought that maybe they misread something or that it wasn't real. But certainly we know now that this is President-elect Trump's pick to lead the Department of Justice. Putting aside the concerns about if this is good for a House Republican majority that is barely large enough to function, there is, I think, a pretty sizable amount of ire and, frankly, hatred of Matt Gaetz from some of his colleagues here on Capitol Hill. You have to remember there are layers to this, as there often are, and I know that you guys have talked about the ones from the legal and the Department of Justice perspective, but here on Capitol Hill, part of the reason why Gaetz doesn't boast a lot of people coming out and celebrating this is, one, because they think he won't get Senate confirmed. And I think that leads us to a whole nother conversation about which of these senators is willing to be the first to stand up and say no to Trump, as most of their colleagues are talking about Trump coming back in with a mandate. The other piece of this, though, is that Gaetz is the one who orchestrated the ouster of Kevin McCarthy just about a year ago. And that's something that earned him no friends within the House Republican conference. There are some of them who are openly at this point saying that they're happy to see him leave the conference because they don't want him as a colleague anymore. But then they're also happy to watch him have a failure of a confirmation hearing because they don't think that the Senate will grant him the votes to actually get to this position.
So they're saying, listen, he's not going to get confirmed. Don't worry about it. We all hate him. What a loser. We're glad he's gone. And I love the meltdown. And sometimes I enjoyed the meltdown of the right a little bit more than the meltdown of the left. Oh, he ousted Kevin McCarthy. Are you guys still salty about that? Are you still salty about Kevin McCarthy? Anybody show of hands? Does anybody miss Kevin McCarthy? Anybody? No. It's a resounding no. He ousted Kevin McCarthy. He won't get confirmed, they say. He won't get confirmed. Listen, maybe he's just going to get recess appointment, right? And he's just in there anyway. That's what Thomas Massey said. Massey was asked about it, and he said, suck it up, recess appointments, as he's going up an escalator in D.C. Thomas Massey said, suck it up. I love it. I love it. This is why we're here. We're here to catalog the salt. MSNBC just completely losing it.
In the last hour, Trump making clear just what kind of presidency he had in mind all along by naming Congressman Matt Gaetz as his choice to be the country's attorney general. Trump making that news in a social media post by saying that Gaetz will, quote, end weaponized government, which is in and of itself a delusion of the far right.
I love it. Weaponized government is a delusion of the far right. You guys are so deluded. This is why nobody watches this trash network anymore. Because you just lie to the American people. We can see with our own eyes the weaponization of the Justice Department. The FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago. I mean, that's why Melania didn't want to go have tea with Jill, right? FBI agents rifling through her underwear. That's why, right? Yeah. Joe Biden has classified documents in a dilapidated box in a garage behind the Corvette. It's safe. Oh, well, we can't charge him. He's just a doddering old man with memory issues and be sympathetic to a jury. But Donald Trump, that madman, how dare he? They're telling us we're deluded about the weaponization of the Justice Department? It's a delusion of the far right? Let's talk about delusion. I mean, the only ones that I see that are deluded are over there on MSNBC and on the far left and some establishment Republicans.
It is yet another sign, though, that Donald Trump is rewarding loyalty this time above everything else.
So is loyalty a bad thing to reward? Asking for a friend. Should Trump pick people that just hate him? Is that what we're supposed to do? I guess so, according to MSNBC.
As he builds a new cabinet. Since Gaetz was all in on Donald Trump's attempt to overturn the 2020 election. In fact, he was so concerned about his criminal exposure that he asked Donald Trump for a pardon in the last days of Trump's first presidency. Gaetz was also under investigation for sex trafficking as recently as 2023. He will now lead the department that once investigated him should he be confirmed.
Oh, Gaetz, he was under investigation for sex trafficking? Oh, my gosh. And do you know if there was any evidence the Justice Department would have strung him up, right? But there was no evidence about Gaetz. There was definitely some allegations. Oh, gosh. But the biggest one, the biggest allegation came from a former friend of his. And do you know where that former friend is? Well, he's sitting in prison right now because it was an extortion plot. This is from The Hill. A Florida man was sentenced to 63 months in prison Monday for his involvement in a plot to extort Don Gaetz, the father of Rep. Matt Gaetz. Stephen Alford is his name, a 63-year-old developer, and he pled guilty in November to scheming to extort $25 million from Don Gaetz, who was previously a state Senate president in Florida. Prosecutors have been seeking between 11 and 14 years in prison. However, the judge in the Northern District of Florida, Casey Rogers, said that request was incorrectly based on guidelines for stealing money rather than attempting to steal it. Intended loss does not fall within the bounds of reasonable interpretation for the term loss. So here's the plot, though. Alford's plot would have seen him receive millions from Don Gaetz in exchange for promises of a presidential pardon for Matt Gaetz for any potential crimes from the FBI probe into sex trafficking allegations against the lawmaker. This was an indictment filed in August of 2022, and it charged Alford with wire fraud and attempting to prevent the seizure of an electronic device. According to the indictment, Alford took part in a complex scheme called Project Homecoming, in which the Fort Walton Beach man claimed his team had been assured by the president that he will strongly consider a presidential pardon or instruct the Department of Justice to terminate any and all investigations involving an individual identified in reports as Matt Gaetz. Federal prosecutors noted that the money gathered from the alleged extortion scheme was meant to be used to help rescue Robert Levinson, a former FBI agent who disappeared in Iran in 2007. Matt Gaetz touted the federal charges against Alford, blasted the alleged scheme on Twitter at the time, asserting, "I've been proven right. They tried to extort me on a pile of lies." This is what you need to understand. It was a pile of lies and an extortion scheme. And this weaponized government that we've had for the last 3.5 years, had they had anything on Matt Gaetz, they would have gone after him. Make no mistake about it. Matt Gaetz has made no friends on the left and the right. Nobody would have shed a tear if there was evidence against Matt Gaetz and they got him in a pinch. Nobody would have. And if the allegations were true, nobody here would be covering for him either. But they weren't. They just weren't. The allegations weren't true. But, hey, what do I know? Max Miller, an Ohio rep, has this to say about Matt Gaetz. He says, "I don't think Matt cares if he gets confirmed or not. Everybody's talking about him, and that's what he likes the most." He says he will never get confirmed and slams him as a guy who is literally worse than the gum on the bottom of my shoe. Max Miller, isn't a rep. He hasn't been a rep too long. 2023. There are reps that are saying, "Well, we're not going to vote." That they're shocked. They might not vote to confirm him. But a lot of these reps, they voted for Merrick Garland, right? Like we have prominent Republicans that voted for Merrick Garland, including Chuck Grassley, Lindsey Graham, Langford out of Oklahoma, the author of that bipartisan border bill. How about our Senate Majority Leader, John Thune? He voted for Merrick Garland. Senator Tillis voted for Merrick Garland. So you can vote for that guy, but you can't vote for Matt Gaetz? All right. Hey, that's a take. That's a take. Thune, on the other hand, is vowing to confirm Trump nominees quickly. And this was a statement made before the Matt Gaetz announcement, but Thune said, "Yeah, we're going to do everything we can to process Trump's nominations quickly." That's what he said. We'll do everything we can to get the job done. And that's what he needs to do. That's what he needs to do. Let's hope he does it. Let's hope he does it. But what if Gaetz doesn't get confirmed? Let's play this thing out. What if he doesn't get confirmed? Is there a course of action that could either get him the AG spot or maybe something else? We'll talk about it when we get back. It's 9:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
the House Speaker says Matt Gaetz' fast resignation is actually a blessing. Also, Tennessee is being sued for using racial quotas. We'll explain. Those stories coming up at 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan Jones. 9:57 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. Matt Gaetz, the AG pick. They say he'll never get confirmed. He'll never get confirmed. Okay. Well, what happens if he doesn't get confirmed? Sean Davis over at The Federalist has a theory. He says with Gaetz having resigned his seat in the House, if the Senate tries to reject his confirmation, DeSantis can always appoint Gaetz to fill Rubio's Senate seat. That'd be interesting. You'd force the senators to have to choose between having him as AG or their colleague for years to come. Now, other people are pushing back against that and saying, that will never happen because DeSantis and Gaetz actually very much dislike each other. Okay, well then what happens if they don't confirm him? Well, they put him in through recess. And then if they don't want recess, you can appoint him as acting and then renew him every 150 days. And let's be honest, Trump has probably already thought this out, right? He's probably game playing this a bit in his head. Thomas Massey's on record saying it will happen. He said by recess appointments, and he said that you got to suck it up. You got to suck it up. NBC's Ken Delanian, he was reporting on the Department of Justice's reaction to the selection of Matt Gaetz, and you can just hear the cope and the seethe in this report.
Well, Katie, I've gotten two different texts from different people at the Justice Department who just used the word insane to respond and react to this potential appointment, and then also questioning whether Matt Gaetz can be confirmed. And one person asked me to research whether anyone had ever been nominated for the post of Attorney General who had been investigated by the Justice Department. We'll have to look into that, but my initial reading is that I can't think of any time that's ever happened in American history. And not only was Gaetz investigated and not charged, we should point out.
Not charged. Let's point that out. Thanks, NBC. Innocent until proven guilty, still a thing in this country.
Sex trafficking investigation. But he has been perhaps among the top 5 most vociferous critics of the FBI and the Justice Department. And not just critics, but accusing them of being corrupt and weaponized and unethical at every single congressional hearing that ever, anytime, he's on the Judiciary Committee, and anytime Chris Wray, the FBI director, or Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, or other lower officials have gone before that committee, you could count on Matt Gaetz taking aim at them in very extreme language and accusing them of unethical and corrupt behavior. And so,
well, I mean, if they didn't want to deal with that, maybe just don't engage in corrupt and unethical behavior. And this is where a lot of the cope and seethe is coming from. Matt Gaetz calls them on their BS. They don't want to be called on their BS. Matt Gaetz is now going to be the Attorney General. It's happening. It's happening. And this might be the best pick yet, especially if you're into salt mining. John Bolton, he's responding, and him and his mustache are very, very upset. We'll talk about that next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, hello there. It's 10 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We're looking at cloudy skies, now 59 degrees. Stick around for your forecast coming up. Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz caught House leadership by surprise by resigning effective immediately after being nominated as Attorney General by President Trump. House Speaker Mike Johnson says it was fast, but Gaetz did him a favor.
If we start the clock now, if you do the math, we may be able to fill that seat as early as January 3rd when we take the new oath of office for the new Congress. So Matt would have done us a great service by making that decision as he did on the fly. And so we're grateful for that.
He says he's already contacted Florida Governor Ron DeSantis about filling the seat. An armed kidnapping played out at a home in Madison yesterday. 23-year-old Azhani Miller, the mother of 2 young children who had been barred from seeing her children. Police say, though, she showed up at her ex-husband's home with 3 other people, one of them brandishing a gun, and took the 2 children. Police caught up with Miller and the children. Now, the adults have all been arrested. Miller is being held on $100,000 bail. It's been a week since the election. Some House races have yet to be decided, but the GOP is now projected to maintain the majority in the House after having secured 218 seats. Democrats at the moment hold 208. The states where ballots are still being tallied include Alaska, Maine, and Iowa. The state of Tennessee is being sued over racial quotas required to serve on a state's board and commission. The lawsuit filed in the U.S. District Court for the Middle District of Tennessee says that laws that require the governor to appoint a member based on their race violates the 14th Amendment. The lawsuit specifically aims at Tennessee's Board of Medical Examiners and the Board of Chiropractic Examiners. Well, tantalizing tidbits, but really no new evidence of life on other planets. ABC's Jim Ryan says that lawmakers yesterday held their second hearing in as many years to talk about UFOs.
Or, as they're now known, unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAP.
I think probably the vast majority of UAP are drones, experimental aircraft, weather conditions.
Former NASA Associate Administrator Michael Gold.
There is a percentage that isn't.
Gold and the members of the congressional subcommittee holding Wednesday's hearing are demanding to be told what the government knows about the unexplained sightings. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Stocks this morning mostly lower. The Dow Jones Industrials right now minus 52. We've got the NASDAQ down 31. S&P 500 index falling 8. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
.05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What do you think about Matt Gaetz as Attorney General? 615-737-9986. John Bolton and his mustache are very, very upset. Not just about Matt Gaetz, but about Tulsi Gabbard. Listen to him just losing it on CNN.
It was the worst cabinet level appointment in history until they then heard about the Matt Gaetz appointment. Really, my reaction was that this is like the legend of Caligula, the Roman emperor, who wanted to nominate his horse as a Roman consul. You had to be a Roman senator at the time to be a consul, and it was intended to show how demeaned and degraded the Roman Senate had become.
I love how he says this is the worst. These are the worst picks in history, and he just negates the fact that he had been picked at one point.
So now we're going to see whether the American Senate can stand up and reject two people who are totally unqualified, unfit professionally, and really lacking in the moral characteristics, the character that you need to hold these jobs. I think this vote should be 100-0 against both of them.
Bolton.
Yeah, John Bolton. Coping and seething. I think this vote should be 100-0 against both of them. Like, give me a break, John. Give me a break. don't forget what Donald Trump said about John Bolton.
A real dope, but I thought he'd be great because he was so stupid. He was like a boiler. Every time, if somebody shot down a little tiny crappy drone that cost about $15, he'd want to go to war with Russia. I said, no, I think he was great for me, though, for a period of time because he was a nut job, and everybody, I could see his face get red with that stupid white mustache, and he'd be ready to explode. And this was good for me. I went to Kim Jong-un in North Korea. I took this moron with me, and he never said anything. But when Kim Jong-un saw him, he said, oh, shit.
Oop, my bad. You dumped that? Perfect.
Whoops.
Leave it to Trump. John Bolton is so mad about Tulsi Gabbard and about Matt Gaetz. He said Matt Gaetz is the worst nomination for a cabinet position in history. So you'd have to assume that this actually means he's probably one of the best picks in history. And now the panic has gone even further. John Bolton is urging the FBI to probe Tulsi Gabbard and Matt Gaetz as a serious threat. That this is real. This is the weaponization of the Justice Department that we were just told by MSNBC yesterday that we were deluded to believe. This is what we're told. John Bolton is an unhinged lunatic. And if he doesn't like it, I think that we're actually doing the right thing. Charlie Kirk put it this way. They spied on Trump, so they get Tulsi Gabbard. They tried to lock up Trump, so they get Matt Gaetz. They kept the border open, they get Tom Homan. They tried to ruin the country, and now they're getting what they deserve. Absolutely. And there are people that don't like Matt Gaetz who are kind of coming around to the fact that, yeah, we're going to vote for him. Senator Markwayne Mullin, he indicates that he's open to voting for Gaetz as Attorney General. And this is a guy that has spoken out publicly against Matt Gaetz. He went on CNN yesterday and said this.
Is for us to move forward. But if that's the last resort, we will absolutely do it. If Chuck Schumer and the Democrats in the Senate want to keep us from making any of these appointments, we are going to do our best to do whatever we have to do to get the cabinet in a position and get the appointments in a position so President Trump can go to work on day one. So we will do whatever it takes, but that's the last resort.
Are you going to vote for Matt Gaetz?
You know, Matt Gaetz and I, there's no question that we've had our differences. They've been very public about it. I completely trust President Trump's decision-making on this one. But at the same time, he's got to come to Congress and sell himself. There's a lot of, or to the Senate and sell himself. There's a lot of questions that are going to be out there. He's got to answer those questions. And hopefully he's able to answer the questions right. And if he can, then we'll go through the confirmation process.
He's open to voting for him. And this is a guy that doesn't like Matt Gaetz at all, Senator Markwayne Mullin. He's open to it. He'll listen to it. He trusts Donald Trump. That's the right answer, especially if you don't like Matt Gaetz. There was more meltdowns from the left, though. Joy Reid, who recently took herself off of Twitter to, stick it to the man, I guess. She had Glenn Kirshner on, and they were talking about Matt Gaetz for AG.
Glenn Kirshner, your concerns as a former employee of the DOJ, and what are you hearing from folks there about this appointment?
Yeah, Joy, you in your lead-in reminded us that Matt Gaetz was investigated for potential child sex trafficking. However, he was.
You're gonna hear that over and over and over again, and make no mistake about it. It was a lie. The investigation went nowhere, and one investigation led to the arrest and imprisonment of a man trying to extort Matt Gaetz. So just get ready. You're going to hear that over and over and over again.
Was never indicted. That's an important data point.
That's important.
But what was part and parcel of that investigation? The FBI prepared a sworn affidavit with evidence that satisfied a federal judge that there was probable cause to believe there was evidence of crime in Matt Gaetz' cell phone, issued a search and seizure warrant, and his phone was seized. It's not like this was some kind of a witch hunt. This was based on evidence.
And then they looked at the phone, and what did they find? if they found anything, Matt Gaetz would be in a federal prison, right? Can we all agree on that?
As you say, he's still being investigated by the House Ethics Committee. I see this, Joy, as calculated by Donald Trump to send a message to the good people at the Department of Justice, 110,000 strong, the men and women, and I was proud to be one of them for decades, doing the people's work. You know, attorneys and support staff who care about honesty, integrity, ethics, the rule of law, and allegiance to the Constitution. This is Donald Trump sending a message to them that y'all might as well just get out now while the getting's good, because look at who your boss may soon be.
Yeah, it's actually a message to the corrupt, the evildoers, the ones that have weaponized the Justice Department. Yeah, it absolutely is a message, but it's not a message to the good folks who believe in the Constitution, and there are many that do. It's a message to the ones that are just radicalized and trying to go after conservatives. This is what the message is. And the message is loud and clear. And you can hear it in the meltdown from all of these people. You can. You can. And Steve Bannon was discussing Matt Gaetz, and Steve Bannon says, guys, this is the guy who's going to bring charges against all the people that deserve it.
What you have done to try to destroy people and go after people, hey, the hunted are becoming the hunters. Now, Matt Gaetz is going to be very even-handed. He's got so much more to do at DOJ, but we have to have a reality check in that you are one of the leaders in the weaponization of government. And you and McCabe, I know you're worried. You can see you're worried. You don't have that big arrogant man when you were there and Trump was all in the docket and the dock, right? You're up there all puffed up on MSNBC. You ain't not so puffed up anymore, bro. Got that worried look. Got that worried look. You got to man up. You see the way I walk into court? You see the way I walk into prison? Spit right in your eye, dude. Got to man up. You better man up, dude. You're one of the instigators. You're one of the ringleaders. Merrick Garland's going to go to prison. Lisa Monica's going to go to prison. And Roisman's going to go to prison. Yep. Yipper.
I love it. I love it. At least we know we're going to get a fair investigation, right? You know, there's been so many times where we've seen, we got this on Joe Biden. We got this. The House Oversight Committee has this. And we're like, finally, something's going to happen. And then nothing happens. And I don't think we're going to have that nothing happening anymore. Andy McCabe is panicked. Steve Bannon talking about Andy McCabe. And you can hear the panic in his voice when he's talking to CNN.
I want to start with Matt Gaetz, who is potentially on track here to lead the agency that includes the FBI, where you spent so much of your professional life. What are the implications of having Matt Gaetz as Attorney General?
How about faith in the justice system being restored? I think that's one of the implications. Personally, let's hear from McCabe.
Good morning, Casey. There's so many things that kind of jump out to you when you hear that the prospect of that nomination. But I think the first thing that really impresses me is what it says about Donald Trump's intention for the Justice Department and the FBI. Matt Gaetz is obviously wholly unqualified for this job. He's someone who, I mean, quite frankly, couldn't get hired by the FBI if he was, had he ever been interested in that, which I'm sure he never was. Probably couldn't qualify for a clearance. Matt Gaetz has, by his own statement, some of those you just played, no interest in the FBI or the Department of Justice, no respect for the work that they do or for the people that do that work. He is singularly a disruptor.
Yeah. And that's what we need. He has no respect for the work that these people do. Yeah, when you've weaponized the justice system against conservatives and Catholics and moms at school board meetings. You have Tulsi Gabbard on a terror watch list. Yeah, we have no respect for that. None. When you spy on an incoming president, we have no respect for that. None. This guy, you can hear it in his voice, too. He's shook. He is absolutely shook. And this video of him, you can't see it on the stream, but it looks like he's in a hostage video. He just looks beaten. He looks like a man who has been broken.
He is someone who's been selected because of his interest and desire to go into the organization and tear things apart.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, a lot of these cabinet nominations have been picked because of their interest and desire to go into these respective areas and rip it apart, because it is toxic. It has become poisoned. No matter where you look, whether it's the FDA, CDC, NIH with Robert F. Kennedy, whether it's the border with Tom Homan, whether it's national intelligence with Tulsi Gabbard, or the Attorney General with Matt Gaetz. Yeah. Yep, that's pretty much everybody's mission, actually. And that's why we voted for Donald Trump.
Likely get rid of people, stop doing a lot of the work that the Justice Department is currently doing.
Yeah.
And that is just, we've spent a lot of months debating whether or not Donald Trump actually means the things he says about the Department of Justice and the FBI, whether he's actually going to try to really dismantle those organizations in a serious way. I think the selection of Matt Gaetz is a clear indication of how squarely he intends to do that.
Yep. And for that, we say thank you, sir. Thank you, President Trump. This is what we want. This is what we want. J.D. Vance reacted to the pick of Matt Gaetz on Twitter, and he said this. He said, the main issue with Matt Gaetz is that he used his office to prosecute his political opponents and authorized federal agents to harass parents who were peacefully protesting at school board meetings. Oh, wait, that's actually Merrick Garland, the current Attorney General. Yeah, nailed it. Nailed it. Everybody's so upset. Everybody's so shook. This is how you know it's the right pick. It's how you know. It's how you know. Tony in Columbia, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, Tony?
As far as respecting the FBI, how do you respect people that go into the president's house and sniff panties and go through the underwear drawer, and then January 6th people go to their homes? These are ordinary people, and they're storming their homes like they're with the cartel.
Yep.
So how do you respect that? Go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, they have a lot of work to do to restore the respect.
Exactly. I mean, what they're doing to those poor people from January 6th is horrible. They have not had their rights given to them as far as due process, and the FBI just tore into them and scared them to death.
Yep. And it needs to be changed. I appreciate the call, Tony. We're still seeing the weaponization of the Justice Department. We have a couple months to go, and we're trying to get out of this administration as unscathed as we can. Yet the weaponization of the Justice Department continues. The FBI yesterday, seized the Polymarket CEO's cell phone. Polymarket, the betting site. They raided his home and seized his phone. Polymarket CEO Shane Copeland had his phone and electronics seized by the FBI early Wednesday morning after the election betting platform had correctly predicted a Trump win in the presidential election. They raided this man's home. They're worried about Matt Gaetz, Donald Trump, weaponizing the Justice Department. It's already happening. It's been happening. A source close to the matter told the New York Post around 6 a.m. in his Soho home, Copeland was woken up by law enforcement who demanded he hand over his phone and electronics. He was not arrested. The source said it's grand political theater at its worst, adding that they could have asked his lawyer for any of these things. Instead, they staged a so-called raid so that way they can leak it to the media and use it for obvious political reasons. And they say, but guys, Donald Trump is going to weaponize the Justice Department. It's already weaponized. It's weaponized against moms at school board meetings. It's weaponized against Catholics. It's weaponized against us. We're trying to restore the dignity that it once had. And I think Matt Gaetz is the perfect pick to do it. I really do. And the meltdown. That's what really nails it. It's the meltdown from the left. It's the meltdown from the right. It's the meltdown from the Uniparty. It's the meltdown from John Bolton. It's the worst pick in history, he says. Okay. I mean, that's a nice cold take, but it is a take. It's a take, all right. Thanks, John. More of your calls on the way at 615-737-9986. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Sand, and I'm here for my friends at the Glock store. It's the time of year where we got to be thankful. Thanksgiving's on the way. And I want to tell you about something that I'm thankful for all year long. It's our sponsors. This is commercial radio. It's a business. We got to play commercials because we're not supported by tax dollars like an NPR. We don't have to bend the knee to the government. We can freely express our opinions. And we can let you guys express yours. It's one of the best parts of the job because we make our money by having a great audience, by you guys, and we let our sponsors tell you about their products and services. My favorite sponsor is the Glock Store. Lenny McGill brought his entire operation from the People's Republic of California to Nashville in 2020, and what a great 4 years it's been. I don't know if you know this, but the Glock Store, they do most of their business online at glockstore.com. But here in Nashville, that beautiful retail showroom, the totally unique Shoot 270 shooting rooms, those are the outward-facing parts of the business, and that business employs nearly 100 Nashvillians. So this November and all year long, I am thankful for the support of Lenny McGill and the Glock Store. And if you like listening to me, you like listening to all of us on Super Talk, you should be thankful for these guys too. If so, let them know the next time you visit the Glock Store how thankful you are. The Glock Store is minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere, and online at glockstore.com.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Proof that a Venezuelan gang is making inroads in Tennessee. That story coming up at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
They'll say, don't worry, it's only a handful of apartment complexes.
That's right.
It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN, 1026. I'm Chris Hand, 615-737-9986. Our buddy Cecil in Smyrna wants to weigh in on the Trump cabinet. What's up, Cecil?
How you doing, my man? I tell you, waking up in the morning now, man, and walking out the door, I tell you, man, it sounds like I hear a song, the sound of music. Got hope for the future for a change. You know what I mean?
Listen, this is the most hopeful I've been in a long time.
It is, man. I'm just tripping out, man, on just the, but the people that fall out of the left, with his cabinet picks and everything. And they're so quick to talk about, who's this and who's that, and they forget that the DA, the DEI, DHI, whatever it is, the candidate that they picked, Kamala, they want to talk about expense, and they need to keep their mouth shut. I'm so glad that Trump is, he's a little wiser this time. He came in last time and he realized, he didn't really know how the game was playing, and he admitted that. But now he knows, though. Just like any businessman, they get savvy and they come back stronger than ever before. He's putting everybody in the right positions. He's going to get them, not get them in there, get them, what's they call it, nominated or get them through the red tape and everything so he can hit the ground running and start implementing some policies, man. I'm just so excited about the future.
Me and you both. And, Trump openly admits that during 2015, 2016, as he's appointing people, he wasn't ready, and that he made a lot of appointments based on suggestions and trying to make things good with the establishment Republicans, and that was the wrong move. It doesn't sound like he's making those same errors again.
And, I'll say one more thing before you leave. The thing that I like you said, I'm glad that he admitted that, but the biggest things that he ran into, the obstacles he ran into, was the people he put in office. They were stonewalling him. They weren't actually following through with what he wanted done.
Yep.
They were saying they were working on it, but they weren't. But now he has people, that's pro him, that's know that they're going to get done because, like he said, his son said, videos don't lie. He knows who's for him. He knows who's not for him.
Yep.
But I'm just excited about the future, man. And thank you for what you do. I just enjoy listening to your show.
Hey, I appreciate it, Cecil. I'm excited for the future, too, man. Brian in Columbia wants to talk about the J6ers. What's up, Brian?
Yeah, I agree 100% with Cecil. He puts things out there plain Jane.
Yep, 100%.
The J6ers, I've been saying this for a long time. When you've had that lady on whose husband's in.
Yep, Sarah Maccabee.
Yes, God, every time I hear her, my heart breaks. It just kills me because I can't put myself in her position as a male, but at the same time, her husband's suffering. I don't care what anybody says. Being away from your family and you don't want to be, that's hard.
Yep.
And so this is what I think should happen. Somebody bring a bill forth that they want to talk about reparations for others. Let's give them $1 million when they walk out of jail. Make their life whole again. Help them out. Give them another a new life.
Yep.
And I believe that's coming. I don't think that may be coming, but I think that Trump will I think he's going to fix this, and I pray that he does.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother, for all you do. Appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate it. I think he is going to fix it. Mike Pence is out there saying that Trump better not pardon the J6 prisoners, and I would just like to say, Mike, you're irrelevant. Goodbye. But you had grandmothers going in there and praying as the doors are held open for them. Like, this is ridiculous. Are there some people on J6 that did bad things? Sure. And I think that they should be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. But if you walked in there and you had the audacity to move a podium 2 feet to the left, then enough is enough. This is ridiculous. We are not a country where we have political prisoners. We're done with that. But they're worried that Matt Gaetz is going to weaponize the Department of Justice. It's like we've seen this movie for the last 3.5 years. Your boos mean nothing because we've seen what makes you cheer, right? On the way, though, Kamala Harris was promising a new generation of leadership. That's what she kept saying. We're going to have a new generation of leadership. But I look around, and I'm feeling like we have a new generation of leadership right now. I'll explain when we get back. It's 10:31 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 10:30 now, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Still cloudy, still 59 degrees. We really won't move much more today on the thermometer. We'll check that forecast for you in a couple of minutes. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation has put Governor Bill Lee on notice about an alarming number of incidents involving the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. TBI Director David Roush testifying on Tuesday.
Recently, there was a video that they shot where they shot an individual, a cartel member, 31 times, broad daylight, on video and posted it to social media. And that's the type of organization they are. They are very violent. This is a group that was created in gangs in Venezuela, or in the prisons in Venezuela, and they are here, and they're in numbers here.
Roush says they're also seeing more cases of human trafficking, organized retail theft, and drug sales. In Pennsylvania, incumbent Democrat Senator Bob Casey has refused to concede to Republican Senator-elect Dave McCormick. And now the close margin between the two has triggered an automatic recount under Pennsylvania law. McCormick's camp, however, says his lead is too high for Casey to overcome. The recount must be finished by November 26th. If McCormick's win stands, Republicans will hold a 53-47 majority over Democrats in the Senate. Another recall from a big automaker.
General Motors says it's recalling more than 46,000 large pickups and SUVs with diesel engines, all because of a transmission issue. Regulators say the transmission control valve could fail, causing the rear wheels to lock up, and that could increase the risk of a crash.
ABC's Michelle Franzen. Stocks are mostly steady. Dow Jones Industrials up just a fraction right now. NASDAQ is down 26, and the S&P 500 index -5. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
10:33 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. You got family coming over Thanksgiving? I hope you do. Well, if you do, let Busy Bee help you get your home ready for the big day. Right now, they have a limited number of 14 SEER 1.5 to 3 ton split heat pumps for just $69.95, and that includes labor. It includes equipment, materials, and warranty. It is the perfect way to upgrade your cozy and save on energy costs. Or how about this? You can take $750 off an upright tanked water heater with a circulation kit. And if you're looking into air duct cleaning, you want it smelling good in the house when the company comes over, they'll give you a free upgrade to the next package level. So you buy a basic air duct cleaning, they'll bump you up to the premium service at no extra charge. And if you really need to smooth things over with the in-laws, right? How about you give them a free Beehive membership? All you have to do is already have a Beehive membership. It's that simple. For a home that's ready for family and guaranteed for comfort, you call Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, your Rude Pro partner, 615-775-7833. That's 615-775-7833. Online at busybeehvac.com. It's 10:38 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. You know, one of the things that always made me laugh while Kamala was campaigning is she said, we're going to turn the page and we're going to bring a new generation of leadership to Washington, D.C. I'm like, what do you mean? Like you are? But I look around today and you look at some of these appointments by Donald Trump. And guys, I'm starting to think that the new generation of leadership is here. The millennials are almost in full control. We got Vivek Ramaswamy. He's 39. J.D. Vance and Elise Stefanik, they're 40. Matt Gaetz is 42. Tulsi Gabbard is 43. Pete Hegseth and Lee Zeldin are 44. Yeah, the new generation of leadership is here. And it's on the conservative side. I just want to make that point. Get ready, America. It's the millennials' time now. And I think it's going to go good. I mean, we're the generation that grew up without the internet but know how to use the internet. We didn't have text messaging. Remember when caller ID was separate? You know what I mean? Like we get all that. We get it. We remember the dial-up sound. The new generation of leadership is here. And I'm here for it. I'm excited about it. We were talking to Cecil a minute ago and he's like, "Man, I've never felt more optimistic." I feel the same way. We got a lot of messes to clean up. But it seems like Donald Trump is putting the people in the right places to clean those messes. You want to get involved in the conversation? I'd love to have it with you. 615-737-9986. Ruckel in Lewisburg. Is it Ruckel?
Yeah, Rocco.
Rocco. What's up, Rocco?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good,
anyway,
man.
I just wanted to tell you. Oh, yeah. I'm glad to hear you're good. But, I just wanted to say I was a Phil Valentine guy. Then I found a friend and radio buddy. And, now that Brian, he announced that he's on his way out. You ever seen the movie Starship Troopers?
Yes.
I'm just going to say I was a never-hander. But now, in the spirit of Starship Troopers, you're my guy now. I'm with Chris Hand. Hey, you're my guy until you're dead or I find somebody better.
Man, I appreciate that. You were a never-hander? You didn't like me that much?
I wasn't. At first you played the middle a lot. You made an opinion, and if it went one way, you'd say, hey, that's the way everybody wanted it to go. And if it went the other way, you said, hey, I told you so. You played the middle a lot. So I was like, yeah, this Chris Hand guy. I watched it because I liked Mac Maury. He delivered a lot of bad news to me every day.
Well, hey, man, I appreciate it. Thank you for giving me a chance. That's Rocco. I won Rocco over. He said you played the middle too much. I don't know. Did I?
You playing the middle is wild. It's a wild take more than anything I think you've ever said.
I don't know. I mean, when I first started, I was definitely I played it a little bit safe, but I think that was strategic.
Yeah, I think playing it safe and playing the middle are separate things in my opinion. But I get what Rocco's saying though.
Thanks for the call, Rocco. Appreciate it. Steven on the road. You're up next on Super Talk. What's up, Steve?
Yeah, man. Chris Hand, the information handyman. How about that?
What's up? How you doing?
Hey, man. Yeah, I just want to quick comment on Chucky Schumer. I like to call him Gargamel because he reminds me of Gargamel from the Smurfs.
Yep.
The way he's kind of hunched over, and all wicked looking. His comment about the will of the people that he made a couple days ago, how it just kind of resonates with. I've heard this from AOC and from Nancy Pelosi, and they all seem to use this will of the people. Well, the will of the people have spoken, and they try to refer to the will of the people as a small group of LGBTQ people or some weird way out in left field people that's like maybe 3 or 4 out of 100. That's not the will of the people. The will of the people is the majority of the people who voted for Donald Trump and the Republicans to win all these branches of government. That's going to be the will of the people. So they need to go ahead and shut all that up.
Yeah.
But, the most important thing I want to say about Trump right now is the deep state Dems are, they're really, really pissed right now. He's pretty much stirred up the hornet's nest. And I don't know if you are thinking this a little bit in the back of your mind, but I'm kind of cautious for him. I'm kind of have a little fear for him between now and the election, or even after the election. When he comes into power, they're going to try something. I just feel like they're going to try to assassinate him from the inside, because he's putting the right people in the right places to try to take down to end the corruption in the DOJ and the CIA and stuff like that. And I just hope that he's really cautious and aware of that. And we need to try to keep him safe.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Steve. And my wife has, and I appreciate your call. My wife has been saying that since he won, she's like, can we put him in a bunker until Inauguration Day, please? But to your point on Chuck Schumer, yeah, he is just a clown. You know, I mentioned earlier that I do think that the new generation of leadership is here, and it's in this Trump administration. When you got Vivek Ramaswamy at 39, J.D. Vance and Lee Stefanik at 40, Gaetz is 42, Gabbard's 43, Pete Hegseth, Lee Zeldin 44. That's the new generation of leadership. But it's those leeches that are still there, that are hanging on by the skin on their teeth. And it's the Pelosi's, and it's the Schumers, and it's these just clowns that we don't need anymore. But I think people are waking up to it. Sean O'Brien, who's the Teamsters president, was on Fox News, and he's talking about the Democrats, and he says, listen, they're out of touch with reality. They're out of touch with working class people, and that Schumer and Pelosi, their time is done.
What happened? What do you think happened to Democrats?
Well, I think they lost touch with the working class people.
Yep.
It was clearly evident in the election results. And look, this was an economic election. I mean, we still have a lot of our members. We still got a lot of working class Americans that are hurt, and they felt the struggle at the pump. They felt the struggle at the grocery store. And instead of embracing and trying to find a solution to the problem, the Democrats took a position that their opinion mattered, and that's all that mattered. And they wanted to talk down to a lot of working class people.
Yep.
The social issues are important, but at the end of the day, it's putting food on the table, being able to afford a home. And despite, the rhetoric of this is the best economy ever, it really hasn't been. So that's what I believe it came down to, was an economic decision.
Yeah, well, he's absolutely right, and he's right about the Teamsters. The Democrats being out of touch with working class people. He goes on to say, the time of Pelosi and Chuck Schumer is over. He said, I said this earlier today in another interview. The Democrat Party needs to take a look in the mirror and say, maybe Chuck Schumer's time is over. Maybe Pelosi's time is over. Let's figure out who's going to be the best for the party. The Democrats need to go into full rebuild. 100%. Julia in Jolton, you're up next on Super Talk. What's up, Julia?
Hey, Chris. I just wanted to let my vote be known that I hope you take over the evening drive.
You're sweet. I appreciate that.
Well, you bring a breath of fresh air because you do represent the younger generation. I'm old, but I love hearing your fresh perspective, and it makes me very thrilled for the next generation that we do have patriots.
Well,
and I love. Oops, go ahead. Sorry.
You're very, very sweet. I listen. I'll be perfectly upfront. I am not moving to afternoon drive. I do a lot of work with Turning Point USA in my afternoons, and I can't back away from that just yet. But I appreciate.
Can you be bought?
I appreciate your vote of confidence.
Can you be bought?
Everybody has a price, Julia.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. So there's some room. Really, really love your show. And am I right to think that you guys got rid of ABC News? Because I don't hear those things anymore.
No, but what we did is we have this news department with Joan Jones and Ken Weaver, who are top notch and can decipher through the narrative and the BS and just provide facts. And so while there is at times on the weekends you'll hear the ABC News when the news team isn't here. During the week, I mean, these guys are really cutting through and bringing you just information, which is huge. We have two of the best news people in the country, and we are blessed to have them under one roof.
And I would agree, and I'm enjoying hearing them so much more than biased ABC coming over our WTN airways.
Yes, ma'am.
Really loving it.
I appreciate
really loving it.
Hey,
and I've been a Trumper since the escalator.
Let's go.
Hegseth does day number one. Please put duty, honor, country back into West Point's creed.
Amen. Amen. The Lord knows we need it. Hey, I appreciate your call, and thank you. You're so sweet. Amy in Gallatin, you're up next on Super Talk.
Hi,
Chris. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Hey, I just kind of wanted to let everybody know I have a 17-year-old. Well, I have 4 children, but my youngest is 17. She's not old enough to vote, but she was paying very close attention this year, and I was glad to hear that she kind of had a little bit of a setback after hearing about all these appointees and things like that, because, of course, being 17, she's on TikTok and, seeing all this other kind of crap, right?
Yeah.
But I told her, I said, the best way to think about what's happening right now with the appointees and the Democrats losing their minds is do you remember whenever you guys were little, you do something that you wasn't supposed to do, you knew that you were going to get in trouble, you did it anyway. What did I say? Wait till your dad gets home. This is the Democrats' wait till your dad get home moment.
Yes.
Dad is coming home in January, and you're going to pay your consequences.
Yeah.
She understood it. So.
No, you nailed it. And what did Tucker said it best. He was like, Dad's home and he's pissed.
Yes, that is absolutely right. Now they're in panic mode, stress mode. Now, Mom, me being the American, voter, Mom, I've just got a little bit less stress, right? Because now I have somebody that's going to take over and do what they're supposed to do, and I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Amen. I appreciate the call, Amy. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, Dad is home, and Dad is pissed. Tucker Carlson was talking about that. Where was this? I think that this was at the Georgia Mother of All rallies that Trump did.
And the second reason you can't allow it is very familiar to anyone who has children, which is if you allow it, you will encourage more of it. If you allow people to get away with things that are completely over the top and outrageous, if you allow your 2-year-old to smear the contents of his diapers on the wall of your living room, and you do nothing about it, if you allow your 14-year-old to light a joint at the breakfast table, if you allow your hormone-addled 15-year-old daughter to slam the door of her bedroom and give you the finger, you're going to get more of it.
Yep.
And those kids are going to wind up in rehab. It's not good for you, and it's not good for them. No. There has to be a point at which Dad comes home.
Amen.
Yeah, that's right. Dad comes home. And he's pissed. Dad is pissed.
Yeah, that was a mic drop moment from Tucker Carlson on the campaign trail. It is 10:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, got some dirt on the interstate, and it is in the right 3 lanes of 24 eastbound right before the 40 split. It's causing some stop-and-go traffic from Spring Street, Ellington Parkway. It's about a 20-minute delay. Got a crash with injury, Harding Place in Nolensville Pike. His resignation caught the House by surprise, but Matt Gaetz may have done leadership a big favor. We'll tell you about it coming up at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The cope and the seethe coming from everyone on the left and the right about Matt Gaetz. This is what I signed up for.
You're here for it, dude.
I love it. I love it. Do you remember yesterday we played that clip of AOC calling out fake politicians? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
All right, this is her from. We played this yesterday, but I just want to remind you about it.
Personally, I don't. I think that a lot of voters really don't like fake people, and they're sick and tired of fake politicians. And so what I actually think is worse is saying something you don't believe. And so if during the entire time in campaign season, you're saying that you're down with trans people or like the LGBT community, and then you lose an election, and then the next day you say all that stuff was wrong. I actually think what people are more upset about is someone was doing something they didn't believe and just saying something.
Yeah, I agree with that, right? But a lot of people are saying she's calling out Kamala Harris and that the Dem civil war has begun. But I just want to point out the hypocrisy in AOC.
Yeah.
Because you know what just happened? She took the pronouns out of her Twitter bio.
Really?
I thought you had to really be down for this thing, man, and you needed the she, her. Otherwise, we didn't know, and now we don't know if you're down with trans people or not.
Got to go all the way, man.
The pronouns in the bio. That to me, I don't know if you guys feel the same way. I'm like, if I got to follow on Twitter and you got pronouns in the bio, it's like, yep, I'm out. If I get a request on LinkedIn and you got pronouns in the bio, I'm like, hard pass. If you got extra pronouns, like, nope.
Yep.
I'm out. And if I'm doing any hiring, and I've done this, and you get an application, you see pronouns, I'm like, that's a headache. That's a headache waiting to happen. But AOC, you say you're down with trans rights, and then after the election you lose and you forget about it? You're a fake politician. Well, what would you say about having pronouns in your bio and then randomly, one day, mysteriously removing them because you realize wokeness loses elections?
Interesting.
Does that make you a fake politician? Some would say yes. Some would say yes. We got updates on the borders. Hey, spoiler alert, we have some newcomers here in Nashville. A lot of people are talking about it. You might hear about it in Ken Weaver's newscast. We'll talk about it a little bit more in a minute. Find me on Twitter as long as you don't have pronouns in your bio, at Chris Hand on air. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz caught House leadership by surprise last night, resigning effective immediately after being nominated as Attorney General by President Trump. House Speaker Mike Johnson says it was fast, but Gaetz did him a favor.
If we start the clock now, if you do the math, we may be able to fill that seat as early as January 3rd when we take the new oath of office for the new Congress. So Matt would have done us a great service by making that decision as he did on the fly. And so we're grateful for that.
Johnson says he's already contacted Florida Governor Ron DeSantis about filling Gaetz' seat. How safe are kids on school buses? In Clarksville, 2 employees are on administrative leave and 3 agencies are investigating after a near-fatal incident on a bus. Here's Channel 4's Steve Mailing.
Jamie Horton's days are being spent here at Monroe Carroll Children's Hospital in Nashville. Instead of her son being in a school classroom, he's recovering from a massive stroke that has now turned their lives upside down. 12-year-old Hayden Horton was riding the bus the Friday before fall break in October. At some point on the bus ride home, Jamie says her son was put in a headlock by a high school student. She says based on video seen by investigators, that lasted for 14 seconds. 1 week later, Hayden was rushed to Vanderbilt, where he was found to have suffered multiple strokes resulting from a vascular tear in his neck.
Mom, Jamie Horton, says she was especially concerned when she was told adults on the bus seemingly taunted her son during that attack. In Putnam County, a construction worker has died after an accident on the roof of a new home. The Putnam County Sheriff's Office's 41-year-old Joseph Lesko died when one of several trusses on the roof fell over, causing a domino effect of 20 or more trusses pinning him underneath. EMS responders say Lesko was killed instantly. And they're not moving out of the country, but some well-known people are limiting their social media presence.
I have loved connecting with all of you on Twitter and then on X for all of these years. But it's time for me to leave the platform.
That's former CNN host Don Lemon, who thinks X is no longer a place for what he calls honest debate and free speech. Actress Jamie Lee Curtis also deactivating her X account, as well as UK newspaper The Guardian, which posted a long missive about its decision. Elon Musk replied, "They are irrelevant, a dying publication." That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
The Guaranteed Offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
.1107 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. You can find me on Twitter, True Social, Instagram at Chris Hand on air. At 11:35, we're going to have a knight in shining armor in here. Seriously, like he's one of the armored MMA guys is coming in.
Oh wait, really?
Yeah,
that's so cool.
And he's bringing the whole gear. So if you're watching on Super Talk TV. You're gonna want to keep watching.
I hope he brings a mace.
I think he may. I think he might. Dude, the armored MMA, we're doing that this weekend, and it's gonna be baller.
It's so cool.
They are literally fighting in knight's armor.
Yeah.
Now, me and Murphy, we had been joking, saying like we want to be able to put the armor on and fight each other.
Yeah.
And then we went to the training session and we watched these guys actually duking it out. And we're like, wow, thank goodness corporate stepped in and saved us from ourselves, because I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
No, it looks extremely painful.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
They're using weapons. They got swords and maces and all sorts of stuff, shields.
Yeah.
And it's going to be nuts. I'm bringing my my oldest son.
Yeah.
With me on Saturday night. We're gonna have an interview with John, and then we're going to give away some tickets. So that'll be happening right around 11:35.
Let's go.
Let's do it. We're gonna have some fun. In the meantime, a couple people waiting on the line want to talk. Bobby in Nashville, you're up first on Super Talk. What's up, Bobby?
Chris, my man.
How we doing?
We are absolutely fantastic, but I am disappointed in you and Ken Weaver.
Oh no.
Oh, no, y'all have not thought of this. The Attorney General, what's the guy's name? Gaetz?
Yeah, Matt Gaetz.
Matt Gaetz. You have not come up with this bumper music that y'all need to play. Who let the dogs out?
Oh, that's hilarious. Well, I'll get it in there for you, Bobby. I promise, all right?
Hey, I'm telling you, y'all doing a fantastic job. I'm retired 2.5 years. I listen to you every day. Let somebody else talk. But get that on there. You got to keep up with these things, my friend. When you take Ken, you sitting back there, you should have already had this punched up and ready to go.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. We're slipping, Bobby. I apologize.
Hey, y'all have a good one. Good job you're doing. Have a great day,
Hey,
fellas.
appreciate you,
All
man.
right,
God
man.
bless. It's not often that Ken gets called out.
I was getting ready to say, man, I should have thought of something like that. now all kinds of songs are running through my head.
You know, just in the interest of fairness, Bobby, I too will blame Ken Weaver for that. Well, I mean, we add new bumper all the time. Some people hate my bumper music. A lot of people love the bumper music.
Dude, you got the best music on the station.
That's what I think.
I
That's what
agree,
I think.
hands down.
I got a text this morning during the Amigos. I was touting my bumper music. John in Lawrenceburg says he watches on the stream so that way he doesn't have to hear my bumper music. Listen, however you listen, we appreciate it. Whether you're watching us on Super Talk TV, so you don't have to hear my bumper music because of copyright issues. I'm so tired of copyright issues. It really it grinds my gears, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah.
But you know, I program it for the listening audience. If you listen on iHeartRadio, on TuneIn, or on the FM dial, you get the full the full experience with the bumper music. Steve in Sparta, you want to talk about gun control? What's up, Steve?
Well, just excuse me, just a statement. These gangs that are accumulating and described to be really dangerous and already breaking the law. Why can't law enforcement with ATF and maybe ICE go in and exercise a just cause to determine every gun that's being held? Is it stolen? Is it properly registered? All those things. And if you've got a gun that's been stolen, then you've got an individual that you can put in custody and wait on Holman to take office and send them home.
Yeah, I mean, something needs to be done, and the Tren de Aragua stuff is crazy. I appreciate the call, Steve. Something absolutely does need to be done. It does seem like things are going to be done now that we have the adults back in charge. But yeah, I mean, there's reports that Tren de Aragua is operating everywhere in every city in Tennessee. That's nice. That's great. That's what we want to hear, right? Tren de Aragua in Tennessee. Yep. No big deal, right, guys? No big deal. WKRN was reporting they're here in numbers. They're in numbers here. TBI director warning of violent Venezuelan gang resurfacing in Tennessee. The director of the TBI warned a violent Venezuelan gang has resurfaced. He compared them to MS-13, which is made up of mostly Central American descent. But the Venezuelan gang are known to be involved in crimes ranging from trafficking women to committing murder in broad daylight. So on Tuesday, there was a budget meeting with Governor Bill Lee, TBI Director David Rush, and he opened his statement by saying, I want to start off this morning with some concerning trends, which is, I mean, this is not how you want to hear a meeting started off. But according to him, Tren de Aragua has been spotted in metropolitan areas across the state. He says they're very violent. This is a group that was created in the prisons in Venezuela, and they are here, and they are in numbers. It's nice, right? Of course, I'm happy that WKRN is covering this in such a way that they are, because, you know, when you listen to like CNN cover it or MSNBC cover it, they're like, oh, they've only taken over a handful of apartment complexes, right? That was Martha Raddatz on ABC talking to JD Vance. She said it's only a handful of apartment complexes, and he laughed at her, and he's like, do you hear yourself? Do you hear yourself, Martha? Do you hear yourself?
The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs.
Yeah. Do you hear yourself? And now they're here in Middle Tennessee as well. Tren de Aragua begins its criminal enterprise by abducting women from Venezuela and trafficking them to the U.S., which eventually evolves into organized retail crime, drugs, heinous violence, according to TBI. Recently, there was a video that they shot where they shot a cartel member 31 times in broad daylight on video and posted it to social media. That's the type of organization they are. That's what we're dealing with. Listen, you got to keep your head on a swivel out here. You have to. When we tell you that you got to get a firearm and train at the Glock store, like, that's not lip service. That is just, you are your first responder. I hear Murphy say that all the time. It's so true. You're the first responder. And if they're operating here in Middle Tennessee and you're not paying attention, your head's stuck in your phone, you very well could be a victim. Don't be a victim. Like, this has to change. Luckily, we are seeing some changes, right? We got Tom Homan coming in, and he is just an absolute badass, and he is going to completely handle this situation. He did a video with Frontlines over at TPUSA, and, well, here, I'll just play the video.
Hello, I'm Tom Homan. You know, I wake up every morning pissed off on what this administration has done to our national security, to our southern border. They unsecure this border on purpose.
Yep. What
commander-in-chief does that to the nation? It has resulted in a record number of Americans dying from fentanyl, over 112,000. You know the best part of today? I got to talk to 3 Border Patrol agents. You know, I told you, I started as Border Patrol agent in 1984. I wore that uniform. And it was sad because the morale is in the toilet because they're not allowed to do the job they took an oath to do. But one thing this administration has not done to them, they can't break their spirit and love for this country. They're on standby. They're ready to go. In January 2025, we're going to let them do what they do best: secure the border, save lives, and protect this country.
January 2025, the leash is going to be off, and let's start him here. I mean, we have our own problems that we need to deal with.
The TBI says not only is a dangerous gang growing nationwide, but it's impacting every major city across Tennessee.
They have a pathway to more violence.
The TBI director, David Roush, warning Governor Bill Lee in a budget hearing Tuesday about the rising threat of a violent criminal group, Tren de Aragua.
They're back in all of our major cities. They are running human trafficking operations.
Roush says the Venezuelan gang does not hesitate to attack their opponents in public.
Recently, there was a video that they shot where they shot an individual, a cartel member, 31 times, broad daylight, on video and posted it to social media.
Roush says they'll next engage in more retail theft before taking on the drug trade.
It's just insane. It's insane. Tim Burchett quoted that from Fox 17 and said, and people ask why real Donald Trump won. Yeah, are people still confused why Trump won? Are you confused why Trump won? You know, we're seeing positive signs after the Trump win. Eric Adams is ending the Hotel for Migrants program in New York City. They're not going to be paying for illegal immigrants to stay in hotels anymore. But then there's the flip side of that coin. All the way on the other side of the country, on the worst coast, the L.A. mayor, Karen Bass, She is rushing to make LA a sanctuary city before inauguration. Is this woman absolutely insane? Yes. Yes, she is. You're going to rush to make it a sanctuary city before Trump gets in? You're going to provide safe harbor to these criminal enterprises? Like, this isn't even a gang. It's a step above. It's pure evil. We need to get it under control. And Tom Homan is going to do the job, whether you like it or not. He said, if you don't want to help us, well, we'll send in double the amount of agents then to your city, and we'll handle the problem on our own. And Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, he's responding to some of Trump's plans and Tom Homan's plans, and he says that they're not going to accept mass deportation. So would you rather have criminal gangs from Venezuela taking over your streets?
But we also want to make sure that there isn't a violation of people's rights with, raids, for example, that are done in coordination with local law enforcement on people who are, frankly, holding down jobs and have been in this country for many, many years.
They're doing the jobs we don't want as Americans, right? Like, it's so hard to find an American that wants to do human trafficking. They're taking the jobs Americans don't want. It's so hard to find good old-fashioned drug mules here in America.
We think that's improper, and in Illinois, that's not something that we would condone. There's been some talk about using other states' National Guard, red state National Guards, to somehow come into a blue state and try and enforce these new Stephen Miller-inspired rules, and that's just not something we're going to accept. But I want
something we're not going to accept. We're not going to accept illegal aliens being deported, says the Illinois governor, J.B. Pritzker. Absolutely insane. You would rather have the criminal gangs just running around your city. No big deal. And the residents of Chicago, I mean, we've played this how many times, right? We have this audio. This is, I mean, at this point, it's like a year old, year and a half old, where you have residents in Chicago going to town hall meetings saying these gangs are harassing our grandmothers. They're trying to take over territory in the city. And if the city doesn't want to handle it, if the state doesn't want to handle it, we'll handle it. So is that a better alternative than having the National Guard deployed to remove these criminal elements? Is that what you would rather have? It sounds like that's what you would rather have. Absolute insanity. Luckily, Dad's home, and he's pissed, and he's putting people in the positions that they need to be in to get the job done that the American people sent him there to do. Thank goodness. Like, it's about time. It's about damn time. It's 11:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, we're going to talk a little armored MMA at 11:35, and we're going to give you some free tickets to the big fight happening on Saturday night. It's going to be wild. I'm going to be there. I'm bringing my kids. You should come too, and maybe we'll hook you up with some free tickets. It's 11:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
All right, we still have that problem in traffic downtown. There's been some dirt spill, and it is blocking the right lane, 24 eastbound, right before the 40 split downtown. It's about a 26-minute delay right now. The FBI is looking for a man who may have information about the identity of a child sex abuse victim, and they need your help. We'll give you details at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It's 11:25 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. I got a text here from 9495. He said, before you get into the armored MMA stuff, I need to know who you got, Jake Paul or Mike Tyson? Tyson, right? I think like the easy choice is Tyson.
I want it to be Tyson, just to put that guy, to humble the crap out of him.
I'm Gen X, so I want Tyson.
I think everybody wants Tyson.
I think we all want Tyson. My worry is a lot of people are like, well, he's older.
When is that fight happening?
Friday.
Oh,
tomorrow. Yeah, it's tomorrow.
All right, I'm watching that.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Dude.
I don't know if it's a pay-per-view thing or
It's
I don't
free.
know. Is it free?
It's totally free.
Oh, man.
All you got to do is pay for Netflix.
Yeah.
Totally free if you pay for Netflix.
It's kind of like whenever the government gives you something.
Yeah.
Well, you know, in this day and age, with the modern advancements in technology, you can find ways to find it for free, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You know, you want to go full pirate, sail the seven seas, you'll be able to find it without giving your money to Netflix.
Yeah, I'll happily be watching all the reels and whatnot posted on Instagram and TikTok.
It's always Tyson, right?
Yeah, I was like, if you're voting for anybody else, you're wrong.
I mean, Tyson's a Trump guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he was on. He was on. What is this? Hot 97 in New York.
Yeah,
and he was talking about this is before the election, and then he said this to their morning show host Ebro.
If I'm voting for Trump, so what somebody's going to do about it? I don't think anybody. I mean, I'm gonna disagree with you. So what? What are you going to do?
The response was nothing. I'm not going to do anything, sir.
That's what I thought.
Remember the guy on the plane who kept bothering him for like a autograph?
Yeah.
Wouldn't leave him alone and like was kicking his chair. And Tyson just got up and just waylaid him.
Oh, my
Yeah,
gosh.
he just nailed him right in the face.
Things I would not want to sign up for. I don't think you could pay me enough to catch a haymaker from Mike Tyson.
No, absolutely not. Bit a dude's ear off.
I got kids.
No.
I got kids, man.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see these grandkids someday, and not have, like, my eyesight obstructed. So the other big story today, Alex Jones forced to sell InfoWars, and The Onion bought it. It's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest story.
What?
Alex Jones on the record saying that they didn't take the highest bidder. He said that they went with The Onion because they wanted to make sure that he couldn't retain control of the company. But I just feel like that has to be the dumbest purchase of all time.
Oh, absolutely.
What do you stand to gain? And I also don't understand how The Onion has the money to purchase that. But what do you stand to gain from buying InfoWars? Oh, so it's not called InfoWars anymore. The website has actually been shut down. Infowars.com is no longer there. It has been shut down, but he's just going to rebrand.
Yeah, and what's the point in spending all that money if you're just going to deconstruct and just sell it for scraps? Not even that. You're just trying to get it off the air.
It just feels like a low-level troll attempt.
100%.
And he's just going to be able to, like, he could go live on X from a front-facing iPhone camera today.
And everybody would hop on.
He would get the same amount of viewers.
Yeah, X, Twitch, YouTube, he would easily, I mean, for sure on X, would pull as much of that audience, if not more, because now he's more accessible.
It makes no sense. I don't understand why they would buy it. I don't understand how they got the money.
So dumb.
It's very dumb. There's a couple other stories I want to get to real quick before we talk to John from Armored MMA. Where did we go? Oh, Elon Musk. He got a standing ovation at the Republican conference yesterday when Trump was down in D.C. There's all these rumors around online that Trump is getting tired of Elon. Elon won't leave. We're getting sick of him, and it's like, no, those are lies. Everybody loves Elon Musk. And the White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, was asked if she has any thoughts on the newly coined Doge.
Does the White House
Have any reaction to this Department of Government Efficiency that Trump announced yesterday? He's brought on Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy to lead. Says the group is being tasked to find ways to cut government spending, waste regulations. Does the White House have any concerns about this effort, or do you think maybe it's a good idea to look at these things?
No comment. I'm not going to comment.
Oh, no comment. No
Surprising.
comment. Yeah, weird. Weird. Who could have seen that coming? It's 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. When we get back, we're going to talk with our friend John from Armored MMA. He is in here in his knight's armor. I told you guys we're going to bring a knight in shining armor. What weapon is that?
This is a mace.
He's got a mace.
Awesome.
He's got a mace. We're going to talk about it next. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. The FBI is looking for a man who may have information about the identity of a child sex abuse victim who is part of an ongoing investigation. Now, they don't have this man's name, but they do have video of who they say is a white male between 45 and 65 years old. He's bald with a dark goatee. He has at least 5 visual tattoos. The word Dabby on the right side of his chest, 197, followed by possible additional unknown text on his left bicep, and additional tattoos on his left and right forearms and right bicep. Anyone with information to provide should submit a tip line, or rather online, at tips.fbi.gov, or call the FBI's toll-free tip line, which is 1-800-CALL-FBI. Right now in Tennessee, Governor Bill Lee backs calls in the coming Trump administration to end the Federal Department of Education, saying he's confident the state can manage funding for the needs of children with disabilities, students who use English as a second language, and provide a solid education for students in rural areas.
In Tennessee, we know Tennessee. We know our children. We know the needs here much better than a bureaucracy in Washington, D.C. does. So I would welcome that opportunity.
Lee goes on to say Tennessee was handling education just fine before the Federal Department of Education was formed in 1979. Ford is going to pay the second largest fine in the history of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, up to $165 million for moving too slowly on a recall and failing to give accurate recall information. As part of the agreement, Ford must review and change its recall decision-making process and review all recalls from the last 3 years to ensure that it recalled enough vehicles. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
11:37 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. I promised you a knight in shining armor, and I have a knight in shining armor here. John Bibby from Armored MMA, rocking some of the gear that you wear during the fights. I mean, he's got a sword, he's got a mace. You can hear the armor. John.
Yes.
Thanks for coming in today, man.
Great to be here.
We got a big fight on Saturday.
That is correct.
Nashville Municipal Auditorium.
Yep.
Tell me about Armored MMA. Like explain it for somebody that just is coming in cold. Like we understand MMA, we get the armor. What is Armored MMA?
Well, it's normal UFC MMA is guys out in their boxers punching each other and kicking each other. Well, put those people in armor and realize they can't grab because they have a sword in one hand and a shield in the other hand. So instead of, grabbing you and trying to flip you over with my hand, I grab you with my shield and try and flip you over my hip. And if that doesn't work, I chop you in the head with my sword or punch you in the face with my shield.
It's so when me and Murphy first were talking about this, and you had called in on Agenda Free Friday one day to explain
Correct.
Armored MMA, and we were like, wow, we would get the armor on, we should fight each other, and that was the original idea. And corporate stepped in and they said, we're not going to allow that. When me and Murphy went to watch you guys train, we both looked at each other. We're like, man, thank goodness corporate had their head on straight, because watching you guys go at it is a bit intense. I mean, you have swords, you have mace, you got these weapons, huge shields, armored fisticuffs, like these armored gloves.
Yeah, my gauntlets are 1 millimeter thick of hardened spring steel. I don't need brass knuckles. I put these on and punch you and you don't have a helmet, you're probably dead.
You told me while we were at the training that this is the most amount of violence that you can witness without the police being called.
That is correct. And we have actually had one or two people who paid to see us call the police because they thought we were going to kill each other. The police are already there, and they're like, you're dumb. There's no different than boxing. Have a nice day.
So tell me about the armor that you guys are wearing. It doesn't look like it's light. It doesn't look like it's easy to move in. How much is your suit of armor weighing?
I have sport optimized to where I'm not wearing steel on most of my body. My hands are steel, my feet are steel, and my helmet is steel. But everything else is titanium. So that saves 30% right out of the gate. My original steel armor weighed about 88 pounds.
Jeez.
And my current armor is about 60 pounds.
But you kind of you put yourself almost at a disadvantage because you have less armor, right? So does it hurt more when you're getting hit with weapons with the lighter armor?
No, the thing that people don't understand is, Chris, if I gave you this sword and I had all my armor on and I just stood there, you would die of a heart attack from overexertion before you hurt me.
Okay.
Because we don't allow stabbing.
That's a no-no.
Well, because it'll slip through and you could break a rib, get between two ribs, rupture my heart, whatever. The weapons are dulled, but they're still weapons. If I swing this and hit somebody without a helmet on, it's dead head.
And they're heavy. I mean, me and Murphy were we were like kids in a candy store when we went to the training facility. We're like playing with the weapons. We're like, "Ooh, I want to see that sword. Oh, let me see that shield." And they're heavy. These are heavy weapons.
Yeah, this sword is about 3 pounds. It's 36 inches in length. We have a minimum of a 3 millimeter radius curve, so there's zero sharpness. But if you look at my helmet, which obviously this is radio, but Chris can see it.
And on Super Talk TV, you can see it as well.
All of these dings and dents.
That's from swords.
Generally speaking. Some of them are for two-handed axes, which deliver a much larger blow.
You said two-handed axes?
Yeah, up to 72 inches long, and it can weigh up to 6 pounds total with the head and the haft.
So there's some obvious advantages and disadvantages depending on what weapon you're using. What are you preferring when you're getting into the ring? Because on Saturday, I'm essentially the Captain Lou Albano for you, if you will. I'm Bobby the Brain Heenan, and I'm gonna be the manager in the corner doing my best to hype up the crowd. But What advantages do you get with the weapons that you're choosing in these fights?
My opponent, Dakota, and I have agreed, and in all of our pro fights, we fight with the same loadout. So if you and I are fighting, we would both have the same type of sword, plus or minus, and we would have what we call a punch shield. So we're even there. But the reason you would want a certain thing, the sword is very difficult to use for grappling because it's so long and because stabbing is illegal. If I go towards you in a stabbing motion, I get penalized.
Okay.
So in order to grapple you, I have to punch my hand past you, put my sword 90 degrees behind your head, and then I can have head control. Where with a mace, I can put the mace behind you and grab it with the other hand and yank you. I'm not allowed to do that with a sword.
Let me see this. I mean, this thing, if you're watching on Super Talk TV, this is, if you saw a guy coming down the street with one of these, you'd probably turn the other way.
That, and the other disadvantage to that is obviously in comparison to the sword, it's a lot shorter. So you have to get closer to the person to hit them.
Yeah.
But that mace, you hit somebody in the head, they know they got hit. The sword, not so much.
Okay, so with the armor, how many of these fights are ending in like a knockout, and how many are going to judge's decision? Like what percentages?
95% go to judges' decisions. I have done probably 40 fights, and I have knocked out my opponent, either knocked him out or TKO'd him only 3 times.
Okay. So the armor helps.
Oh, without the armor, we'd be dead. With the armor, generally speaking, we get what we call friendship kisses, which are bruises, but we don't get hurt, like hospital hurt. It's very, very rare. It does happen, but it's very rare.
And the fight is Saturday night. Like, how many fights are on the card?
There are 5 exhibition fights. Generally speaking, we start just like boxing would with the least exciting and move towards the most exciting. They put me as the last exhibition fight, Dakota and I, and then there will be 5 pro fights, which obviously professionals are a step up above the exhibitionists, or exhibition fights, not exhibitionists. And then there are 2 championship fights. Those are guys who have, throughout the year, beat their opponent every single time as a professional. So we match the 2 to see who's king of the hill.
And you guys are the biggest in the country doing this, if I'm not mistaken. And it's, if you haven't heard of this, it's blowing up rather quickly.
We're probably 20 times bigger than the nearest, and almost everybody is jumping on our bandwagon because we've cracked the code to get it out to the public. Our sport's been around for 20 years. We've been doing this for about 4, and for the 16 years before us, we were right at ground level, and now we're taking off pretty good.
And you were telling me your Instagram has just exploded. What is your Instagram account?
At Armored MMA.
Armored MMA on Instagram. You went from what, 2,000 followers to 200,000 followers in a few short months?
I think we're at like 265 right now.
That's crazy. And people are coming from all over to get in these fights because you guys are the big dogs in town.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know exactly what it is, but this go round, I think we have 2 guys from Mexico and 2 guys from England that are flying in to fight.
No kidding. And when we were talking last, it's like a lot of these leagues do it for fun, and there's no money involved. But you guys are paying fighters, and that's kind of like the difference.
Well, the big difference is a lot of the other leagues, you have to pay to go to fight in a tournament. We pay you to come fight because we've cracked having an audience.
And that incentivizes the good fighters to come to you.
And to get better because, you know, if you pay somebody, that's that much time they don't have to spend at their day job to have the same amount of money. So they can afford to, instead of 1 hour a week, maybe 5 or 10 hours a week train for this.
Got you. So Saturday night is the big fight. What time do doors open?
Doors open at 6 and fights start exactly at 7.
And then it's just nonstop.
Correct.
There's no downtime between the fights, right?
We have 2 intermissions that run about 10 minutes, which you need. You need a bathroom break.
Yep.
Or a beer break or whatever it is you want. So between the exhibition and the pro, and then between the pro and the championship, there's a 10-minute break. But we run a tight ship. 12 fights, we got to run a tight ship, or you're going to get out of there super late. We're trying to be done at 11:30.
It's going to be nonstop action. Where can people get tickets?
ArmoredMMA.com. It's right on the front page. Buy tickets here. Tickets start, I think, at about $40 and go to about $140. The $140 are sold out.
Okay.
Front row is gone. It's been gone for 2 weeks.
Crazy.
And we are selling a boatload of tickets, so don't delay. You'll be able to get in, but you may not be able to sit where you want to if you wait.
ArmoredMMA.com if you want some tickets. We're talking with John Bibby, who is our knight in shining armor here. He's going to be my fighter going against Dakota, who is Murphy's fighter. I'm going to do my best to really, coach you as best I can. Okay,
that's fine. I appreciate it.
All right, perfect. I'm gonna channel every wrestling manager from the '80s that I can recall, and I'm gonna watch some tape tonight to really get myself in that headspace.
All right.
I'm bringing the 7-year-old. What advice do you have for families that are coming?
Just understand that your kid is going to freak out. It's Dungeons and Dragons meets fantasy movies meets that guy's doing that right there 30 feet away from me. The first couple fights, they're just going to lose it.
I love it.
And then most of the kids, by the end of the night, they want to come back, but they also want a nap because they have been so wired for so long. Some friends of mine bring their kids, and every time.
I'm so excited. My oldest son, Brooks, is just jazzed. And if you need some tickets, we got a couple free pairs to give away. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. Callers 9 and 10 right now on the hotline. You'll get those tickets. 615-737-9986. John Bibby from Armored MMA. We got the fight on Saturday. Doors open at 6. Fights start at 7. Nashville Municipal Auditorium. ArmoredMMA.com for tickets. Anything else that we missed? What do we need?
Did you want to hit me on TV?
Yeah, I do, actually. All right, we might have to go to the wide angle.
Yeah, standing right in front of the logo there.
How hard do I have to hit you?
Real hard.
Real hard? Where do you want it? Where do you want it?
Well, aim for the middle of my back.
Right here?
Yeah, you're not.
Okay, are you ready?
Yep.
Nothing?
You got more than that, don't you?
All right.
I felt that one.
You felt that one? He felt that one, folks. It's 11:49 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 11:57 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. John Bibby from Armored MMA is still recovering from that mace hit.
It didn't seem like he was that affected by it, but that's just one man's perspective, Chris. One man's perspective.
He said he felt that one.
Hey,
I gave it to him.
Well, I mean, yeah, you gave him one.
Yeah,
gave him a big.
I gave it to him.
Is that why Allison wants to see you?
I think maybe.
Is that what's happening?
Yeah, we really would rather not.
Man, let me tell you,
maces at
I
people.
cannot tell you. I cannot express. I mean, we talk words for a living, but you and I were there. I cannot tell you how much you'll be missing out if you don't go to this thing Saturday night. It is so. And if you have young boys, age 8 to whatever,
yep.
Take these boys. I mean, even younger. It's all age show.
I'm bringing my oldest. So I'm not bringing the 5-year-old, but I am bringing the 7-year-old.
Oh my gosh, he's gonna love it.
The 5-year-old is gonna be so bitter, and I feel kind of bad, but I'm like, it's gonna be a late night, pal.
So, are you prepared for what happens afterwards? Because you realize the 7-year-old is going to go home and want to beat the mess out of the 5-year-old.
Oh yeah. Well, I showed him
with sticks and stuff.
I showed him the Instagram page, and he's been running around in plastic night skier ever since.
That's awesome. I was going to say, I know what he's asking for Christmas, man. He's getting real armor.
Would love a sword, Dad.
Yeah, you can blunt it. Okay, thanks.
It's going to be a fun night.
What's going on?
I'm loving everything. I feel good. We got Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. How boss is that?
I love that. I've got a take on it. I think it's a master move on two fronts. I mean, one, I think Matt Gaetz would do fine as Attorney General. And if you don't believe me, look at the people that are screaming the loudest.
John Bolton and his mustache.
Look at the people screaming the loudest. Those are the people that we don't want in Washington, D.C. anymore.
Exactly.
Those are the source of the problem.
It makes me so happy when you see the meltdown from that old establishment right and the left. And honestly, I enjoy the meltdown from the establishment right guys more than I do the left.
No, I get it.
Because you're just as much of the problem.
Well, and, the appointment of Elon, as an example, the appointment of Elon and Vivek as the heads of the Department of Government Efficiency.
Doge.
And you have people on network television arguing against making government more efficient. What? Like what? Is that what? I mean, what are you talking about? I mean, no, he's making heads explode, but he's doing, this is so much better in 2016.
It's much better.
It's so much better in 2016. So I think we should all collectively enjoy these wins as they continue to pile up and watch as the liberal freakout continues, and we'll talk about it next.
All right, Murphy's up next. It's 11 o'clock. Oh, no, 12 o'clock. Jeez, what did I do that for? 12 o'clock.